Operation Market Garden, Arnhem, was unfortunately a disaster. Right? The idea was to shorten the war and go through, but they were forced back by the Germans. The Reichsmaster, who was a Hungarian, Austrian Nazi commander in Holland, by the name of Arthur Seath Otham, was so incensed that he stopped all food coming into Western Holland from the agriculture part of Holland itself. Queen Juliana and Prince Bernhard were here in England, in the UK, in exile. And in January 1944, she called the railway workers to go on strike in Holland. With this Nazi Reichsmaster, in retaliation, ordered the sea locks to be broken and flooded Western Holland from Utrecht right round to The Hague. So the dikes were broken and it was flooded. There was a population of 3,900,000 in that area, and this is a fact because I gave a talk on it to 622 Squadron, which was reformed in Briars Norton in May. Anyway, so out of 3,900,000, eventually 20,000 died of starvation, and malnutrition was rife. People were starving. So Queen Juliana appealed to Churchill and Truman and Eisenhower. Eisenhower said they would have to wait. He is not committing his troops while there are 600,000 Germans in Western Holland. Anyway, so the Queen Juliana persisted. Finally, Eisenhower said, Jedward Badham, Smith, Bredon, Bowden, find a way of delivering food. And he brought in Air Commodore Andrew Geddes, who was in Tactical Air Force in main headquarters of the Allies. So to cut a long story forward, he met Bedell Smith, and Bedell Smith to him, we have a situation, we've got people starving and they have to be supplied by food, by air. You devise a plan and you come and back and tell me what you're going to do. So apparently Andrew Geddes went away with others to Tactical Air Force and he devised a plan for dropping food in certain areas in Western Holland by air, incorporating squadrons of Lancasters and also Pathfinders. And he got hold of this Nazi lady, and in a school, they met a school called Undervet, and he explained the plan, and the Germans didn't like it. He said, not the case of you liking it, it's what we're going to do. And if you interfere in any way, what we're going to do, you'll be arrested as a war criminal. So on April 29th, 28th it started, but the weather was too bad. So on the 29th of April, Operation Manna started without the agreement being signed until the next day. And quite legally, we could have been shot down. They would go in at 300 feet, 100 metres, something like that, within a designated area. If anybody went outside that area, they'd be warned by red flares and shot at and shot down. But anyway, so it went off without incident, and that was the start of Manna. And it went from April the 29th to May the 8th. The Americans came in, they called it Chowhan the next day, and they finished on May the 7th. So in a total, there was 12,000 tonnes of food dropped overall. The RAF dropped 7,000 and the Yanks dropped 4,000. And to this day, in Holland, is taught as history, the survivors. And when we've been back there before, we've been invited back. As I say, in 1981, we went in 1982 on that first trip. We were overwhelmed. We didn't realise. People used to come up to us, and still do when we go there. Thank you for saving my life. Thank you for saving my parents' life. Children and grown. It's very touching. And that's how it came about.
And what do you remember the most when you were participating in Operation Manna?
Well, we went in I think about 2,000 or 3,000 feet and dropped to 300. And when we got over to Holland, my first anything, because I'm at the back, right? There's this boy on his bicycle on top of a dike, which flooded all round, astride his bicycle, waving a Union Jack and a Dutch tricolour, right? And we were flying in just below the roof of a hospital. We're all waving sheets and God knows what else. And we went between The Hague and Rotterdam to drop at Ippenburg and straight out again. But we could see people waving. They were warned to keep away. One guy was apparently rushed onto the dropping field, got hit by a sack of potatoes, and that killed him. But others, and the Germans were told that if they touched the food in any way, they will be arrested as war criminals. But this Nazi, he was eventually tried and hanged as a war criminal because not only was he involved in Holland, he followed the German armies through the occupied areas, organising transportations and everything else. He was a real Nazi, and he was strung up.
Is there anything else you remember in particular about Operation Manna which sticks out to you?
Well, there's a guy named Hans Underwater, author and historian. He wrote a book called Manna, Chowham. Still very friends with him, right? And he organised a hell of a lot. With the Manna Association, what we used to do, together with Americans, they used to come over here. We'd meet up in Lincoln, right, on a weekend, and we had 4 coach loads to go to entertained by various airfields, the RAF, like Coningsby, Scampton, Waddington, places like that. And they used to, the 5th year, we'd go to Holland, and boy, we didn't know where we'd go. I mean, we were hosted all over the country. Memorials, dining, visiting, schools, lectures, concerts. Incredible, absolutely incredible.
And the food supplies that you had aboard the plane, were they did they have parachutes attached to them?
No, just dropped out the Bombay. Just opened the Bombay and they pulled out. The Pathfinders went in first and did the markers because they were told, the Dutch were told, that aircraft would be coming in and dropping red markers. And then after that, on their radios, because they were all, radios were hidden, it was forbidden. Anyway, they got them. Their aircraft are leaving England, bringing you food. And of course they're all out on the streets waiting for the aircraft to come.
Was there anyone that you know of who actually got fired at during Operation Manna?
Yeah, one guy got a bullet through his foot. because some Iraq Germans, we followed the guns, the attack planes, they were following us, could see that clearly, and I tracked them as well. But of course we were vulnerable at that height. He was our president, and that's a card from Bernhard when Queen Wilhelmina died. I sent a card and a condolence card. Got a load of medals in there, as the other guys from Manna. Now there's only 6 of us left, and the guy Bob Goodman, he was the leader of Chowing. He died this March. So like all good things come to an end, don't they?
When Operation Manna began, and you had the briefings,
Yeah.
were you or anyone else surprised when you heard you would be dropping food?
Not surprised, more of an adventure, I think. I mean, it was humanitarian. No, it was a surprise, something we wanted to do. And like all operations, when you go for briefing, the whole airfield is closed down. The gates are closed, RAF police on the doors, it's locked. It's a lockdown. Then you go and get your gear, get your breakfast, and go.
Did it feel strange to have to be carrying food rather than weaponry?
Well, we knew that why we were doing it. I mean, 3,900,000 people. I mean, they got photographs of kids, and walking about with large spoons. So when they're in by these areas where the kitchens, common kitchens, they'd scrape out the bottom of the and you got photographs of kids dying in the streets.
Do you think Operation Manna could have been launched sooner than it was?
I think it was in the timescale it should have done, because they didn't know the seriousness after the what happened after Arnhem and this Nazi, what he would do. And he was rightly strung up as well anyway.